Welcome into the show, ATB Show. You can go to atbshow.com and find your way to all the things. For the most part, you're going to tolerate us for about 60 minutes-ish right here on the YouTubes. And we've got Corey in North Kakalaka, not his state of residence, South Kakalaka, but Concord.
Concord, yeah.
Yeah. Now, do they actually pronounce it Concord or like you get people that say Concord instead of Concord?
No.
Like Concord's like a regionalism up here in New England, right? Which obviously you know because you're from Machias. If people didn't know, right? Is Machias, is that the birthplace?
I was not born there, but that's where I grew up.
That's where you grew up, in Machias, yes. And is that not, welcome to the show, by the way, we're already off the rails, this is what we do. Is that not where Stephen King based like 9,000% of his books?
Pretty much, yes.
Yes, all up there, yeah. All right, okay, all right. So it's, yeah, because people are like Concord, and it's like, no, it's Concord. It's Concord. So you're in Concord, North Carolina. And you said the weather is Nipplewitz?
Yeah, it's 30 degrees today. Tomorrow's going to be 15.
Rubber Shoes, beautiful downtown Lowell, the LA studios. And I have to remember, like I say this all the time, and I usually will shut you guys up. I'm like, save it for the show, save it for the show. You just missed. We were just in the green room, and Rubber Shoes was talking about his accoutrement that he throws on to dazzle the ladies at the gymnasium when he goes to do deep knee bends first thing in the morning. And there was a discussion between leggings or no leggings. So now, are you wearing Lululemon? Because I have to tell you, I've been talking to Corey. We are going to have our own line at ATB. I'm coming out with Pop Pop Pumpkin. It's for the robust older gentleman. Yes. What are you wearing?
Today I had Under Armour, the Rock brand.
Oh.
And then I have a couple pairs of Nike ones. That's it.
Like you mean the Rock? Like can you smell what the Rock is cooking? The Rock?
Yes. Yep. It's got the Brahma Bull on their logo.
So I mean, let's be honest. You're a massive wrestling fan. You bought wrestling tights. Can we just say it? Can we just?
Okay.
Can we lay it out? Can we lay it out?
Oh, they're the so through Under Armour.
Look at Maggie. She looks horrified. She's like, he's got them on right now. Actually, you can't see. Thank
Rocky.
God. Thank God.
I mean, Dwayne Johnson has a line through them that it's, I forget what it's called. It's everything that he sells through that line. A portion of it goes to charity. I think. Pretty sure it's veterans or something to do with the military.
Like half?
Not sure.
So
I know a portion.
Trying to figure out, is your right cheek or your left cheek supporting the military? We have no idea.
Yeah.
It good to see Rubber Shoes upright. It was a tough night in South Bend, and for all the people that have an allegiance for the Golden Dome. I stayed quiet.
Are we happy about that? Are we happy about Ohio State one?
I'm Switzerland because I said it was going to be Notre Dame, even though obviously I'm not a fan. I said Notre Dame by 1,000,000 because I felt like all the juju was heading in that direction. Just felt like, and Vegas had Ohio State given 8.5 points. Blah blah blah. Just felt like all the juju was heading in that direction, and I stayed quiet last night. Scotty chimed in. You chimed in. Scotty chimed in. I think everybody else stayed away from it because we were respectful. I've got more times than I can remember. And again, this is a completely separate story. Not talking about the national championship, but I'd be sitting at Chestnut Hill University. The game's about to start, and it's maybe a bigger game. And I would get a text from our dear friend Kevin Branco, and he'd be like, "Big game." Just put like he tells me how much he bet on the game. And I'm like, why would you do that? Like, that's like I just head to the car. I show the phone to Janina. She's like, why does he do that to you? So I stayed silent because I knew the magnitude of last night. But as we were discussing before the show started, with big games like that, you can usually get a sense of the way the wind is blowing, and things just were not stacking up, which is a challenge. But I did want to touch on real quick, and we have to spend it because I said it's a college football show, and Rubber Shoes is like, it is not a college football show. So we're not going to belabor the point. We'll talk about more exciting things, I suppose. But you made the point of saying, making about Ohio State and the payroll and how much it's going to change next year. I think like all bets are off. I think the field started to separate itself. Well, here's something to celebrate, Rubber Shoes. I don't think there's a a year in the near future where Notre Dame's not in the dance. You're going to be one of the 12. Like, there's no, unless you drive it into a bridge embankment, you're going to be one of the 12. That's exciting. Knowing who we are over at Chestnut Hill University, I've made this quite clear. I'm very excited about the Pop-Tart Bowl because that's our new big bowl. Like, if you do the math in college football, it used to be the ACC team that wasn't getting invited to, and obviously the framework has changed, and now it's going to be 16, so you guys are definitely always going to be part of the conversation. But the big bowl for the ACC team that didn't go to the national conversation was the Orange Bowl. But now that's part of the framework of the big conversation. So now the Pop-Tart Bowl is really where the almost cool kids in the ACC go, and as a fat kid, I can't tell you how exciting that is. And I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. If I can get some BC gear with a breakfast confection on, like if there's a Pop-Tart on a BC hat, or I'm in, I'm all in. And the wife and I have already pinky sweared. It's a drivable bowl game. It's only all the way down 95 to Orlando. We're definitely going. And hopefully that's next year. That's what we're excited about. But I think now that you're talking, Scotty's not here. He can yell at us later because we're not picking on his school. They just got a senior in high school for $12.5 million. Like, the conversation has changed.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, even though, our president Leahy is leaving at BC, we're never going to be in that conversation. Like, I'm at ease with that. Like, the Pop-Tart Bowl's our big goal now. This is what I'm excited about.
You don't think you have big boosters that would be like, hey, let's all throw in some money and make a run?
I think we're going to work from the outside in, and I'll explain. We got a huge email over the summer. I told you about that email where they basically asked if we do this, would you want it? Would you want it? And I said yes to everything because I want them to do everything. We can't put it would be like going out to buy an 8-carat diamond and then wrapping it in tinfoil and then telling your wife to put that on her finger. Chestnut Hill University has the nicest high school stadium on the planet right now.
Yeah, so I guess it's
one's
the money, there. But then do they just want to come for the money because there isn't a lot of glamour other than just getting the money, right?
Yeah, we're up against the weather, and I'm certainly not saying that Notre Dame's not in the conversation because they certainly are. You've got teams in the ACC, Wake Forest, Duke, Notre Dame, if they'd get off their high horse and join us, but they won't. And I understand you have a wonderful contract with an NBC, and Boston College always going to be up against the grades. And then you take BC and you're up against the weather. And then you take, the cloudy conversation that hangs over Boston sports in general, the perception of racism, and then predominantly white Irish Catholic school. Then the fact that we don't have 12.5 to hand to a quarterback. And to your point, even if the kid got there, he's like, this is the practice facility, right? And honestly, if side by side, you look at the Fish House next to Alumni Stadium, and we're not moving. We just put the Fish House on one side, and we just made huge adjustments to basketball and Conti. Like, we're not moving. That's it. That's the framework we have. Now we just got to build that up, and I think we have to focus on that and recruiting, which thank God O'Brien's doing, because God bless Jeff Hafley, great defensive coordinator, go Cheeseheads, whatever. Like, he was never focused on that, and that's ultimately why he left. He's like, I don't want to deal with NIL. That was really where he checked out on us. And O'Brien's just like, we have to embrace it. And there's the Friends of the Heights, which is now every school has their collective. The Friends of the Heights. Are we going to cobble some cash together? Sure. 12.5? No. But I think we have to work. You can have a wonderful burger. I think of my dad used to joke about this when we were like eating at home and my mom would put the plates down, and dad would always joke about presentation. But like, if you're at a really nice restaurant, I don't want my plate to show up looking like a casserole. I want the presentation of the plate to be great. And if we're gonna put a bone-in ribeye on the field, it better be a really nice fucking field. And we have work to do to be an attraction point before we can even start stroking checks to get there. And I'm comfortable with this. I'll go to my grave with this. We're never going to be part of that conversation, because then the hard work, and when people say, well, you can't do that, you can do anything. Somebody just gave a high school senior $12.5 million. We have to get on the phone, and I'm talking to Bill O'Brien, who I'm not mad at because he still has time to do it. And I'm sure he's had this conversation with Leahy and the powers that be. We have to get on the phone, and we have to change our future schedules.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we have to change ours, because then you go to strength of schedule.
Yeah.
And we're playing, God bless Perkins School for the Blind, because that's why Wick Grossbeck even moved to Boston, because his son has a vision impairment. But like, we have the Little Sisters of the Poor. Maybe we're playing Holy Cross, which would actually be that would be the one I would like to stamp. That should be our 12th game. Is Holy Cross. That's a local thing that makes sense. But, then in a couple years we'll have I forget what it is. It's a few years out, but we have UNH, which scares the hell out of me, because if we lose that game, I have to move to Mars. So there's so much work to do. We're not in the conversation. We have 10 years of work to do. Billy O'Brien in 10 years will probably have this program where he's super proud of it. He'll spend 5 or 6 more years after that, God willing, because I think the NFL is going to come calling sooner than later, which horrifies me, because then we're right back to square one. So,
yeah.
So since we're talking about BC, did you watch the basketball game with Duke in town?
Yeah. So let me speak for everybody who wasn't there, which is really funny. When we had tickets, even those games were unenjoyable, for the same reason the football games are unenjoyable when big schools come in. Because even when we had seasons and we're going to the Duke game, Janina's like, this is going to be awful. I said, yes, because every person that lives in Boston that doesn't have an affinity for any other school that owns a Duke t-shirt got tickets to this game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're like 3 pieces of pepper and a salt shaker at the friggin' game. It's horrifying. But let me speak for what I heard took place, which was so horrifying.
So you didn't go?
No, we don't have seasons anymore. No, I didn't go.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
Well, when Bubba went off to school, we got rid of those. Too many school nights, man. Too many 9 o'clocks on Tuesday. I can't do it. I'm going to be honest. I can't do it. We're not into driving down there for a Tuesday game at 9 o'clock. Anyway, when the BC faithful started chanting overrated, and they unlocked Cooper, and he just trashed us. It was like Khaleesi on the dragon burning down King's Landing. I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing? It's different and it's fun when BU comes down the street and we start chanting safety school and they start chanting Sunday school. That's fun. That's playful. But telling a local kid who's at Duke, and Duke drafted him when he was in kindergarten, right? They recruited him 17 years ago, chanting overrated. Like,
you got to thank Scalabrini for that. He's the one that told them, the coach at Duke, he told him about him like 3 years ago.
So, but your question, I was presuming you were going to ask about that.
Well, so our good friend Tyson bought season tickets just for that game.
Just for that game. Well,
I think he either sold them during the year, but he went to that game because he's a big Duke fan.
They talked about that. It really is a hack. It's a hack with BC sports, because when 1,000%, when you go to hockey or basketball, you're not getting down in the lower area unless you've had seasons for ages and you're a big donor. So you're always going to be up in the seats first and foremost. And yeah, I guarantee you, there's people locally that will probably buy season tickets just to get the Notre Dame seats for football next year.
Yeah,
that's absolutely a hack.
I won't need to do that, right, Tim?
I'm taking care of you, buddy. Don't worry.
Okay.
I got Clemson season tickets, knowing that North Carolina and Duke were on the schedule that I couldn't make, and I knew I'd make my money back.
At the very least, rubber shoes. Don't forget, I only have 3 people in my house that go to football, and I have 4 seats.
Okay.
So we might have to break your brother's heart, but you're going. I promise you this right now: you're going to the game.
Okay.
We might not be speaking on the way home. Actually, carry the 4 divided by 3. We're definitely not speaking on the way home, but that's okay. I still love you. Oh God. But like, yeah, there's so much work. If you start stacking all the circumstances that are up against BC, there's no path. There's no path in my lifetime. I'll say that comfortably. And I'm 53, going on 70. I know, but like, what are we doing? We gotta fix the schedule. We gotta fix the stadium. We have to raise money. We have to change our mindset about how we do everything. And I love that I love that O'Brien's pretty vocal. He joins EEI every Thursday at 7:00, and he's like, I'm gonna stay local because I know the talent's here. You know, he's like, but we got to be in the portal. You have to be active in the portal. And they just had an unofficial weekend this past weekend and got 3 commitments. And one of them is a quarterback for the class of 28. He's a freshman right now. So we're doing what we've
he's graduating in 28.
He's a class of
28.
High school? He'll be
Oh Jesus.
He's a freshman right now and he committed, which could change. But the fact that we're having these conversations, you know, it's better than it was.
So
we had a head coach that didn't want to do it. And that's not the answer right now in 2024.
They were talking to the head coach of BC basketball, and they were asking, like, so Cooper Flagg, New England kid, and there's another guy who is I think he's in high school and is leaving to go somewhere else, obviously. And they're like, how do you get to keep your local talent to stay at BC? And he's like, I have no idea. It's
you know, and I mean, that's the other thing you sort of forget. I think we think NIL and we think like the major sports. It's across every sport,
right?
And you know, failure on our part. I love Earl Grant, our head coach for basketball. If you have the pleasure of watching a game, he's usually the 6th guy on the floor. He gets super low. He's like that AAU coach who wants to, you know, still wants to play. Still got a little spark in him. I like him. I don't know that he's the answer. I feel like we haven't turned the corner.
Yeah.
And that's a horrible answer to the general public, is I don't know how we would keep Cooper Flagg here. Like, give him everything. Is how can you imagine where the program would be if we did drag him down from Maine and he did stay here?
No kidding. Yep.
It'd be crazy.
Yep.
And the last time I can think of us having, you know, a big predominant
Billy Hurley.
I was just gonna say
Billy Curley.
Billy Curley, yeah.
Curley, yeah.
And that was 94, and we went to the Elite 8 and beat UNC, year. And we beat UNC.
Yeah, I remember that
in the Elite 8. Eric Montrose.
Yeah. I mean, if UMass could get a top 4 school once in their time, the BC's got to be able to do something.
What do you mean, for hoop?
When they had Canby and that team.
Oh yeah, yep. Yeah, there's so much work that needs to be done, and I'm not blaming it all on Father Leahy, but he's had a blueprint from ages ago in his head about how this should all look, and there's not a piece of me that wants to sacrifice the integrity of the school and all that kind of stuff, like, so I can be real happy on Saturday nights. But as you know, Rubber Shoes, there's an Irish Catholic football team, you know, in Indiana who seems to make it happen, and they're figuring out with arguably, when we talk about integrity, a stricter campus, a stricter university.
Yeah,
they have you have non-co-ed dorms at Notre Dame. You know, BC, that's not a thing.
Yeah.
That's, you know, there's a lot of changes that that's why I joke, and, you know, BC stands for Barely Catholic. You know, because sometimes we decide to be. I
know where you had an advantage at one point when, you know, you had a lot of bookies on the grounds, but now with legalized betting
so
everywhere,
good.
Now you kind of lost that advantage.
It's so funny too, because you talk about that, and that was the when the betting scandal hit, and then Tom O'Brien came in, our last great O'Brien. Yep. Tom O'Brien came in, and it was a 10-year run, and it was awesome. And that's, like, you know, just with everything right now with Bill O'Brien, everything about the way it's all falling in place, he truly feels like a 15, 16-year run. So 15 more years, because he's got son playing baseball at Tufts, and the other one needs the medical attention that is in Boston, and his wife is an alumni. Like, if we screw this up, we should just stop doing sports. Stop doing sports. Separate the boys and the girls. We will go back to our roots. It'll be a seminary and a convent, and we'll start baking bread and stomping on grapes and making wine. Like, honest to God, dude. Honestly, get out of your own way. And you know, because here's the other thing: people are just like, well, look at the endowments. That's not a thing. When you look at Harvard's endowment, you look at Notre Dame's endowment, you look at BC's endowment, and the differentiation between the ND endowment and the BC endowment is a huge leap. That is money that's invested on behalf of the university. They're not dipping into that. That's like the people making the argument that we're not going to sign Alex Bregman because they just signed a big player on Liverpool. Those are different bank accounts.
Yeah.
You know, but do we have I can't think of his name now, the guy that's connected to, oh God, what's the company? It's his wife who's the Michigan alumni. It's her and her husband meeting Portnoy for dinner and saying, do you have 6.25? I have 6.25. Let's go get a quarterback. And he's passionate and he's committed. He's going to dip into the well every year to make sure they have exactly what they need. And that's the rules. That's the game now. And it's heartbreaking because there's just a separation. Yeah. There's a separation. And I don't know what the future of the sport looks like. And I'm fearful it's going to eat itself.
And I feel like college football has figured it out. They know what it takes. The other college sports, I don't think, like college basketball doesn't seem like they've figured it out yet. Or maybe there's different rules for basketball with the NIL. I'm not sure because I mean North Carolina is horrible this year. They have like one returning senior and the rest of the team is bad. Like, they didn't go out and get anyone. So I'm like, all right, how's it work for basketball? Like, Cooper Flagg might have just went to Duke because he grew up being a Duke fan or something, you know. I'm sure he got some money, but I don't know if it's the same as it is in football right now.
I think that's up to each school and their collective and how much money they have. Because you could argue, but there's limits. College basketball only has this much. Like, now, because it used to be how many scholarships can you offer, and there was a limit per the NCAA, and you had to sort of slide them around, like you're playing Connect Four, and like that's not a thing anymore. It's this, the scholarships are, but the scholarships are nothing now. They just listed, and I forget who the quarterback was, and it really doesn't matter. And you both probably saw the story, and I did all my research, so I apologize for my lack of notes. I saw something on the socials most recently, and it might have been quarterback doesn't matter. It's a college quarterback, and I apologize. What he's going to take home next year, or what he took home this year, he was outpacing.
The guy that he left Georgia. He was the guy that got hurt that didn't play in the Georgia game. He transferred
now he's in
somewhere.
Miami.
Yeah.
He went to Miami to follow the Cavender girl because he's dating one of the Cavender twins.
Yeah, he's gonna make more than
he's gonna make more in Miami next year.
Yeah,
than 4 current NFL quarterbacks in their rookie contracts combined.
Yep.
Wow, that's crazy.
So there's pitfalls to this because now you're losing their ear at the collegiate level. And here comes my Bill Belichick. Like, you're losing their ear at the collegiate level. And then are you going to be able to pay them enough at the professional level to get their ear back?
Right.
You know, and the other side of this too, and this is what I was talking with, like, it was probably a year ago when we were having this conversation. The NIL money, to me, and the fact that kids can make money in college because they're good enough to play in college, but maybe not the professional level. I love to see all these new leagues that are coming up now. PLL has added a women's professional lacrosse league. That's cool. Like, there's all these opportunities, but even for the kids that don't have the chops to go to the pro level, but they were great in college, now they get the money to invest in these leagues or buy a team and keep all these going. Because I know you guys agree, I love putting on ESPN 13. And I'm like, oh, blindfolded women's lacrosse. I love it. You know, I mean, like, this is just one more thing to watch. And that's really cool. But they're going to lose themselves in the muck of the gray of where does the college money end and the pro money start? Is it going to be commensurate enough to get their attention for them to want to go? Also fine, and we're all over the place. I apologize, but I find it fascinating that people are getting worked up. Speaking of NIL and leaders, that primetime is sort of talking about guiding where Shador is going to go, and somebody's like, "You can't do that." You can do that.
Yeah, you can do that.
They've been doing that for years.
But why do people seem shocked?
Like the Mannings did that. Both of them.
I was just going to say, yeah.
Mannings,
I'm not going
sure,
to San Diego. I'm going to New York.
I think John Elway did that.
John Elway
was gonna go into baseball.
Yep.
So you bring up a good point with ESPN showing all this stuff, right? Which is great.
Yep.
There was one Saturday, I just happened to have it on ESPN. I don't remember what channel it was, but they had a championship league. You know, when you go to the amusement park or even a circus or even a fun park, they have the little basketballs and you got to put them in the little hoop.
Yep.
They had that as a championship. Like people were doing that. I was like, this is awesome. I love that.
Well, and the other thing you forget about too, when it comes to the NIL stuff, and there's predominant teams, not at every university, like gaming.
Yeah.
Universities are putting together gaming. Like, so they're going in and they're going to play Fortnite.
Yeah.
So like, and all I think of, and my mom still laughs about it because of course I infected the boys and they're both gamers and they're both into hip hop. Francis is probably mining and crafting right now with his headphones on, listening to EPMD. Well, actually, correction. He's guaranteed he's probably listening to EPMD, but he's doing that while he's playing GTA, which Jenny loves. She doesn't love, but you know, like I remember my parents being like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" And like for my generation, it was a fool's errand because it really, I mean, maybe it built some hand-eye coordination, but the kids now, they're like, "Yeah, I'm going to Colombia on a full boat because I'm really good at Elden Ring." You know, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Go ahead.
Did you see the big win with the Celtics last night? Did you guys watch the game?
The 40-point drubbing? Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it.
I would love, well, all right, but talk to me. And again, you guys are the NBA experts. I skate by it. I'm like, and it was a good day. It was a good day until it wasn't for rubber shoes. But when you watch the day unfold, I'm like, oh, Bruins 6-3. Oh, Celtics win by 40. And I felt like I'm like, this is a fait accompli. This is going to ND by 1 million, just like I said. And I think I predicted 31-13, so I was definitely way off. But
it was really Tatum versus Kerr, really.
Yeah, they were talking about that, and I love the TNT desk. I threw that in the chat last night. It's just so much fun to watch them. I don't think Charles Barkley's career is there. I don't think he's I don't think he's out of his mind. I think he's right. Like they could get some youth and just let Grandpa Curry stand on the corner and take his shot. Like he's not crossing people up. He's not breaking ankles anymore. Not that he can't, but that's not where his game is going. Mm-hmm. And could they still get him back into a position where, you know, they could be a threat, which is what they should be. Because like you see the Warriors and it's still baked into your head like, oh, this is gonna be a game, and then you're like, oh no, it's the new Warriors.
Yeah, they've been pretty bad for a few months now.
Yeah, it's not great, which is a pleasure. But where's the consistency for the Celtics? Where's the consistency for the Celtics?
Well,
they'll get it next month.
The thing that is curious is that they've been very good on the road and not so good at home, which I don't understand. It's like basketball used to have a home court advantage. Like back in the 80s Celtics, they would never lose at home.
Which annoyed you because you were a Lakers fan then.
Yes.
Yes.
Although
it breaks my heart every time I hear that. I'm just saying that. Rubber shoes.
It was a wild time, Corey. If you could, I had front row seats. It was wild. Everybody else is like Bird. He's like Magic. See, look at him.
Did you get beat up for that?
No. No.
Look at him
Didn't
get beat up.
Your lunch money?
It wasn't like that back then.
He's pretty stacked.
Starting quarterback, star athlete. He's not getting beat up. He was getting questioned, but he wasn't getting beat up.
That's some gonads right there, buddy. To be a Lakers fan in the heart of Boston.
I mean, I think it was my junior year basketball sneakers. I had the Worthy New Balances.
Oh my God.
And then was that the year? I think that's the year the Converse weapons came out.
Came out. I had a pair of those.
Everyone else on my team had the black and white ones that Bird wore, and I had I couldn't find the Magic Johnson ones, so I ended up getting the Worthy New Balance ones.
It's so funny to think that Bird and Magic were Converse. Yeah. Which is now technically owned by Nike, right? It's a subsidiary of Nike, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is interesting.
I love that they bought them.
Yeah.
Speaking of buying things, are we excited that the Red Sox are going to buy the Celtics?
I don't know if I like that.
I love that pivot. I do not, because I'm desperate for a miracle of like, I want it to be just a ridiculous group that you're like, oh, yeah, I guess if you add all the money up, it makes sense. Like, I really want the Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, like a bunch of, like 10 of those knuckleheads to just put a conglomerate together.
The Wahlbergs.
That's what I'm dreaming for. And I don't think it's crazy, because I think they're fans like we are. They're also business owners. And I think oh my God, John Henry's going to own, like, I don't love it. Nothing about it feels good.
After what we've been going through with the Red Sox for the last 5 years, like, I don't see them buying them and going all in for championships, because
I also don't.
Definitely not going that way right now for the Red Sox.
Yeah, and are they presuming their valuation is $6 billion? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, it's up there.
Isn't that isn't that presumptuous?
And that's only for like 55% of the team or something like that.
Oh, it's for majority ownership.
Yeah, that's not even for the whole team.
So then if I'm not great with math, but if I move some beads on the abacus, so they're presuming the valuation of the team is $12 billion.
Yeah, around there.
A team that's being sold out of left field, and like everybody has stated, which is like the 8,000-pound gorilla in the corner. They don't have their own building, right? Like, a team is going to be valued more. Jerry Jones, Dallas Cowboys, like all these teams that are valued through the friggin' roof also have a place to play.
Right. And so one of my ideas for a new garden for just the Celtics was to build on top of South Station. Well, they've already started doing that. They're putting a big high rise there.
Yeah.
So I think that everyone was thinking, there's no land to buy up to build anything. But I think people are starting to think outside the box and building up. Like, I think there's going to be a way that they're going to be able to build something in Boston that's going to be just for the Celtics.
Well, they were talking about over by Wynn. Wasn't that the plan? Over by Wynn was it going to be, which I think would be amazing.
Do you think having Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, actually, do you think that's viable?
No, I'm.
They would need a big.
I appreciate your question, legitimizing my ridiculous theory. I mean, I'm throwing spaghetti at the cabinets, dude, because I want. I'm sort of like talking to my dear friend that I go and play in the Winter League over at Pease. I said, "Where are you at now?" And he goes, "I'm ABC. Anybody but the Chiefs." And I think a lot of us feel that way right now. Like, I want anybody except for Mahomes at this point. And I want anybody but the Red Sox. I just don't. It doesn't feel good when they centralize that many of our teams. That should the personality of having the different ownerships is what makes it fun, I think. And you could be like, well, the Revolution are also owned by the Crafts. That's a little different. The four major sports, I want different ownerships. Because I think there's power, and there is. And we talked about this on the last version of this show. I made a grandiose statement, which is now not aging well, much like my face. I made a grandiose statement, and I said the beauty of Boston sports and where we were in the bubble, where ESPN magazine posted the picture with all the rings on the fingers, welcome to Boston, loser, that cover that Aiden still has hanging in his bedroom. We were in this window that I said, these teams will never be out of the conversation because they're currently in 617. I guess we got to skate down to 508 to get them in, right? Is that where Foxborough is? In Boston, whether they want to admit it or not, there's a dick measuring contest. And back in the good old days, when you used to grab the Herald and you flip to the back, because the back page of the Herald was the sports page, you were fighting for the front page of the sports on the back page of the Herald. And this is never going to change. You have four massive egos fighting for supremacy in a city that has now created a problem for themselves where you have to be in the playoffs. And that's starting to erode. And now it's like, well, this is good and that's fine. It will be such a bad thing. And there's no historical evidence that proves that it won't be if John Henry. And yes, it's Sam Kennedy. John Henry's not involved. Okay. But it won't be good. I don't think it'd be good. I'd much rather have a conglomerate of all the assholes that we love, that every time we see them on the side of the court, that would be gold. And I think the person we're not talking about, and he's got a lot of stuff going on, but this would prove that he was letting the football people do the football things. I want Bobby Kraft to roll up with a checkbook. Because he used to love being in there. He used to love being in there. What if he called everybody that he knew had a few shekels left over? Edelman loves the game, right? And I'm if you think about the history of the team and Red Auerbach and the fact that, he used to go after the game on Sundays and he had something at Kowloon on the menu, like there's all this history. I think that would be really cool to see him.
As long as I'm not part of the Diddy party, I'm good.
Oh, 4,000%. Yeah, it's gotta be pretty clean because I don't want that.
LeBron's out.
LeBron is out. No, LeBron's in. Unfortunately, it's just we don't know who he's in.
Dude,
it's not great. It's not great. I mean, I can't wait for it to happen, but yeah.
That would be the only negative thing that's ever come out about him in the 20 some odd years he's been in. He's been in the limelight longer than that. He's been in the limelight since he was like 10.
Yeah.
Crafty wouldn't make the move right now because it would look bad. It would look like his focus wasn't on the Patriots, and he's watching all the noise with the Red Sox and the vitriol that's coming, that there's even inklings that John Henry might make a move on the Celtics. And there's no evidence that this is happening, but I'm just praying that a bunch of the kids that have made good and have made something and have some money to put together, and then they'd have to go to somebody. But if the face of this group could be all the guys that we love seeing at the games who are doing press junkets for their next movie with the Red Sox hat on, if they could be the face of it, but it was backed by Bezos, I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. I already joked about this because I already had it picked up, right?
I'm all in.
Yeah, the distribution center.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The Amazon distribution center. It's Jeff, let's go. Let's go. So, I mean, he's saving his money for something because he can't buy his girlfriend a top because she had her bra on yesterday at the Capitol. But did you guys see that?
I saw that.
Yeah, Zuckerberg got
good for him.
Zuckerberg got a full view. A full view.
Wow.
So yeah, I just that's my dream. That's my dream scenario because I think that would be amazing to have, and that would just that would be lights out. But
So
they'd have to not they can't treat it like their fantasy team either. They have to bring in the experts, and I don't mean Danny Ainge.
Oh God,
we missed it by that much.
So the last time I talked to you guys, I was in Philadelphia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I forgot to tell you that I was teaching this class, right? And I talked about, when you played sports, what was the one thing you did before you played the game? They're like, oh, we practice. I played the Allen Iverson clip talking about practice. We talking about practice? Like they loved it, and that was the best place to play it in Philadelphia because obviously
they don't remember that.
No,
because all these kids are really young, right?
Yeah,
that's funny.
They laughed.
That's funny. Yeah. It's one of the best scenes. Yeah, that is one of the best clips, and he's
here. I am the franchise player. We're talking about.
Oh my God, that was such a great speech. that whole thing unfolding was great. And if I remember correctly, because I feel like it's burnt into my psyche, was he sitting there wearing? Was he wearing a Cleveland Indians hat?
He was wearing a Boston Red Sox hat.
It was a Red Sox hat. I remember. Okay, it was a Red Sox hat. Yeah, that was so funny, and a great piece of writing, or I guess borrowed writing. If you ever watched Ted Lasso,
yeah,
he uses that whole speech word for word, yelling at Jamie. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love
such a good show. And like everybody doesn't really know what's happening. It's really funny because you're like, oh, I know where he got this. Nobody in this room knows where he got this because he's over on the other side of the pond.
I hope they come up with season 4, bro. I think that'd be great for Ted Lasso.
Yeah. You feel like they could have stretched that out. He Seinfelded it, which was pretty smart on his part. That was a great show. Did you ever watch that, Rubber Shoes?
No.
Oh my God, dude, you'd love it. You'd love it. You would. So well done. So well done. Oh my goodness.
How we feeling about Kansas City and Buffalo? Who we got?
Listen, I know what I want, but there's not a piece of me that thinks it's going to go that way. And I'm not diminishing the skill set of one Patrick Mahomes. I'm not at all. And yes, Tom got some, capital SOME. Tom got some calls in big moments.
At the end of his career.
He did not get what we're seeing right now.
Hell no.
There's an epic shot on Tom. I wish we had the microfiche. There's an epic shot on Tom where he gets cleaned up. His helmet comes off and he gets right up. And people tend to forget that. And but back to the other side of this conversation, Mahomes is Belichickian in the way he's using this rule. There was the play earlier this year where he was skating down the sideline and the defense slowed up because they figured he was leaving. And when they stopped, he bit and kept going. And that was just like Kenny Pickett when he did it at Pitt. And they had to come up with a rule about you can't fake slide now. And that the two Texans hitting their heads, and he was just underneath it. Upon first view, it looks like a vicious hit. But dear 1987, we could roll back the microfiche and see that he wasn't hit. They hit each other. That shouldn't have been 15 yards. And then the most egregious thing was the LeBron flop.
Yeah.
Every time he goes to the sideline, and now people have to hedge their bets and be like, okay, no matter what we do, they're going to throw a fucking flag. So it's like, I remember when we were playing Pop Warner, and even in high school, it was just like, hey, if you're going to be offsides, make sure they know you're offsides. We had some maniac coaches in Chelmsford. They're just like, make sure they know you're. If you're going to be offsides, go get your money's worth.
Yeah.
And I think some teams have to make some decisions. Like, yeah, one of us probably has to take a game misconduct. One of us is probably going to get targeting, but we're going to make sure he stops doing that. And like that, if the NFL's listening, hi, don't screw this up. It could be amazing, but you're going to screw it up. Like, who wants to see Philly and Kansas City again?
Right. I don't.
Can you imagine Josh and Jaden?
Yeah, that would be amazing.
The NFL, if you're listening, Roger, and you're not, because you're probably stroking your ego, or you paid some boy to do it. Like, there's an opportunity here to really set the tone. That would be amazing, and they have to win. I'm not saying set it up, but for somebody who's not usually very outspoken, for who am I thinking of? QB Houston. I'm drawing a blank. Help me.
Stroud?
Yeah. CJ's like, you walk into the arena and you already know what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's just annoying. I'm just done with it. And it has nothing to do with the three-peat. The three-peat's coming. I'm making my peace with this. We are 3 weeks away from not being able to watch ESPN for 6 months. Got it. Nailed it. I'll be on TikTok. because she's back, even though it was bought by Facebook, and that's dicey. But, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's a fait accompli. It's happening. There's going to be a three-peat. And
no,
he's still never going to accomplish what Tom did. End of story. So he can get whatever he gets this time around. I just think they've got to, after this season is over, they got to clean it up. For Troy Aikman was pretty tuned up about that call. But I think if the NFL gets what it wants and home field advantage is home field advantage, we're probably looking at the Chiefs and the Eagles again, a repeat of last year.
I think we got breaking news.
What do we got? Alex Bregman.
McDaniels.
Lakers trade LeBron James.
We got an OC? McDaniels? Yep. Now, do you boys like that?
Patriots turn to old friend to be offensive coordinator under Mike Vrabel.
Well,
Done deal, huh? Done deal?
This is from the Sports Hub.
All right. So here's
according to Ian Rappaport, as first reported by Barstool's Kirk Minahan, the Patriots are hiring old friend Josh McDaniels and their offensive coordinator. Nice. The NFL Network, Ian Rappaport, later confirmed Minahan's big scoop.
I like
Interesting. You know what I find pushes out data pretty quick? I feel like CBS does a great job pushing stuff out.
Yeah.
CBS Sports Wire, I feel like they always push it out, and I haven't seen anything yet. I've got ESPN and on here. I haven't seen anything yet, but I love it. The people that are like, his play calling got stale at the end, I don't deny that. I also think that we were the spoiled rich kids of the NFL. You know? Are you not entertained?
Sports.
What's that?
Actually, this is saying he was interviewed. Patriots hired.
Boy.
Sports Illustrated 13 minutes ago reported.
It's done?
Yep.
All right.
I like it.
I love it. Yeah, I do.
I could have done this last year. I'm just saying.
Dude.
Yeah, they totally botched last year.
I will always appreciate that Kraft was trying to keep his word. But let's not remember, the person we're talking about right now got that same promise. Remember when they got him to come back from the Indy interview?
Yeah.
And they promised him the keys. But then when he left, they promised the keys to Gerard. And I get that. But last year, as soon as Vrabel became available, we should have been doing this a year ago and we'd be a year ahead.
So I think they were surprised that Vrabel was going to be available. And I think they told him, go get a gig on the side this year and just wait and we'll come get you next year. I think there was a handshake with Vrabel that we really don't think Mayo is the guy for the job and we're going to fix this next year, but we want to keep our word to Mayo saying that he was going to have the keys to the car, and they gave it to him. And then I think there was a wink, wink, nudge, nudge last year when he came available. Hey,
we're going to get the number one pick, right? Yeah. We'll get you in the building. You can have the number one pick whatever you want. Yep. Oh yeah. They screwed that up.
Yep.
So who you got with Washington and Eagles?
Oh, my dream landscape is I want Buffalo, Washington. And I think the probability of Washington juking Philadelphia is greater than the Bills juke. Like the home field advantage for the Chiefs, I think, is insurmountable. And I think the predictability of two or three 15-yard penalties at very opportune times. Yes, I have my tinfoil helmet on. Yes, I love Brady. Yes, I'm a Patriots fan. Don't care. You're going to see some wild crap on Sunday. And you'll be like, how are they letting that happen?
I think it can happen. I really think that I think Philadelphia is banged up. Like Saquon got hurt this past weekend. Hurts hasn't been the same since his concussion. He doesn't look right. I think the Commanders can take them. And I really think Buffalo is a better team than Kansas City. and they, every team has that hump they got to get over, and I think this is the year that Buffalo gets over the hump.
This is Steve Young, get the monkey off my back, right? Like this is
Although,
Josh's Steve Young game.
This will be their 4th year that they're playing the Chiefs to advance, and that there was a meme that said, "Oh, no team would go to 4 straight years and lose in a big game." And
Yep, there it is.
Except for the Buffalo Bills.
Yep. Oh boy.
But I think I really like Josh Allen. He's a stud. I like what they've been doing on offense. My question is, their defense going to be able to hold up? And Kansas City doesn't look that good on offense. They're just making the plays that they have to make.
They have not scored more than 30 points.
Yeah, I think
that's amazing, because we couldn't get away with that in Brady's prime. We had to be scoring 30 because it was the bend don't break.
35-24 Buffalo.
35-24 Buffalo.
All right, write it down. 34-25.
No, 35-24.
35.
Yep.
Going with Buffalo. I love it.
Wouldn't it be great for the NFL if the Washington Redskins won the Super Bowl? I'm going to say Redskins because I don't like.
That's coming back though. That's coming. That's coming.
No,
and
but
it's going to be a shame that they do it in those crappy uniforms. Is what the problem is.
So I've been hearing people say that if they go to the Super Bowl as the Commanders, they're going to stay that because they did it as the Commanders. So part of me wants them to lose because I know there's a big push for them to go back to the Redskins, that the people that the logo was made from, they were never talked to about having it changed and having a problem with it. They want to have it go back to the Redskins. As soon as
they win Sunday, I would be on the phone with Goodell and say, we're wearing throwbacks in 2 fucking weeks.
Oh, that would be awesome.
We're wearing throwbacks in 2 weeks.
Doug Williams
is coming out in a headdress, nude.
Yep.
Nobody needs the Redskins uniforms.
Nobody needs to see that.
And then Buffalo wears the old school O.J. Simpson uniforms.
And I don't even know. Oh my God! I was just going to say
the black glove.
I was just going to say, yeah, yep. Yeah, 4,000%. And I don't know if he's still with it. Is John Reagan's still with us? Is he still above ground?
I think so.
I think you bring out all those maniacs, but as soon as the game is over, if you figure it out, you get on the phone with Roger Goodell and you're like, we're wearing throwbacks. We're wearing throwbacks. Why can we not? The locals have all said, and I mean the local tribes too. Like, nobody was offended. Well, we know who was offended. We know who fought for this.
Yeah,
and they did a horrible job. Yeah, I think it would be great because the rumors are they've been having conversations and it is coming back. And you make a great point, Rubber Shoes. They'd be like, well, we can't switch now. This is no. Jaden Daniels and a new way of thinking got you to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Yeah.
And those uniforms are amazeballs. You bring those back 4,000%.
Yeah, I love that. So,
and the locals would lose their mind.
Should he stay or should he go? Dion stay in college or go to Dallas?
I would love him in Dallas. That would be a great soap opera if he goes there.
Yeah, as New England fans, like, get me a Natty Light and a bucket of popcorn. Yes, right. But no, I'd rather see him, quite honestly. And I appreciate the spotlight and where he's at, but like, even if he makes a move, and this is not on the radar at all because it looks like they're sticking to it, but I'd rather see him skate back to where he was and like go be the head coach at, Florida State or something, or an SEC school. He's not going to take an ACC job. I get that, but I'd rather see him stay in the college ranks.
Yeah,
I think to the Dallas thing is a car wreck. And to Rubber Shoes' point, grab me a chair. I'll sit right next to you.
I'm with Rubber Shoes on this one.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him in Dallas.
For entertainment value, or you think it's actually going to bring them back to life?
I think he could turn it around, but it'd also be very entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
If he's the coach, they're the team for the documentary that they do every year on.
Oh my God! Can you imagine him being on?
Well, they qualify because they haven't made the playoffs in 38 years. So
yeah.
He's good. He's good for the sport. I would just rather see him stay in the collegiate ranks because I think he brings, he's the most recognizable. He has the hoodie that he wears all the time. I ain't hard to find. He's the most recognizable face in college football from a coaching standpoint. And I'd hate to see him. I hate to see him leave because I think he's got work to do. I'd love to see him stay in Colorado and continue to build that out because he's got some really cool people behind him that could probably step up and take his job. And I appreciate as a dad that he wants to go coach, he wants to go be where Shadur and Shiloh are. It's not going to happen. You're not going to get both you boys that's not going to happen. That's a bridge too far. But I get it. I mean, it was when you watched him make that last walk with his two boys, you're like, wow, that's really it. Unless something magical happens. And Jerry's got the checkbook to make a whole bunch of things happen. Jerry could get him and be like, I will write the check to make sure that we have the pick that secures your son to be the quarterback here.
You think Jerry makes that move without firing, what's his name, Mike, that can't win in the playoffs? You fire him without knowing who your next coach is going to be? Jerry does that? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Well, they're still looking. I thought for sure that they'd be talking to Sarkisian, but it looks like that's not a thing.
Still looking.
Yeah. Yep.
But he has to have you can't let that guy go and not know that you have this person.
Right.
And if it's Dion, right, and you let him go and you know you're going to get Dion, and it's just a matter of a number, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So are they waiting? Are they waiting right now? They're going to wait until Monday? Because there are a lot of respectful people, and I think Jerry's a big enough face in the NFL on all the committees that he will wait until Monday because he doesn't want to rain on anybody's parade.
Yeah, he has to wait.
Yeah, he'll wait until Monday because they can make announcements for the next 2 weeks. But they can do it whenever they want to. But what were we watching? What was the game? I think it was even a different sport when A-Rod's contract was splashed all over the place.
Oh yeah.
Most of the sports are really good about, no, this is their weekend. We'll keep our mouth shut. We'll make the announcement Tuesday morning, not even Monday.
Right.
Because Monday, let them have their highlights. Tuesday, we'll make the splash. So, yeah, it's got to be coming. I'd rather see him stay at Colorado and.
I'm good either way.
Continue to build that, but.
I think it'd be good.
I think he's going to have a pretty big dip next year. Lose it. He's lost his two best players. It's going to be hard to replace them. Especially in Colorado. It's like yes, they have, Prime there, but are they going to pony up the money there? Do they have backers in Colorado like they do in Ohio State?
Right. Yeah, that could go sideways pretty quick. Yeah, maybe he's going to piece out. I don't know. Emotionally attached to that. I think it's pretty cool what he's done.
It is pretty cool. What
Jackson
he's done
State and Colorado. And his kids had a whole bunch to do with it, but there's no question that he runs a different program. Mm-hmm. Just the way he, the video's been viral. The academic advisor for the football team. It's the first time they've carried like a 3-4 across the board or something.
Yeah.
Like all the kids' grades are exponentially up. So
they got the right tutors.
Yeah, I'm sure the girls in Colorado are making the boys pay attention.
Is Rubber Shoes still a Lakers fan? I just got to ask that.
Absolutely not.
When did you make the switch?
So
when did you come to December?
When did you
when
transition?
The allegations for Kobe happened?
Oh, that was like 2006 or something like that.
Speaking of Colorado, wow.
That happened.
I love that we made that tie, that geographical tie.
So if you're the GM of the Lakers, are you trading LeBron right now?
If you want to make your team better, yes.
Do you think he gets traded?
He's not. he's ruined that team since he's been there. And if you want,
what a legacy.
It's like, yeah, I mean, they're getting. I'm sure they're making money with him
hitting all these milestones.
We broke the news. We broke the news about McDaniels. Tyler's coming in here to make
little shoes to screaming headlines from the other room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell him Maggie ran the note in hours ago.
For that franchise, if they want to get back to where they used to be, I would 100% trade him, get what you can. Like some team's going to give him a lot for it because he can still play. He's a good piece on a team that's, on the fringe, ready to make that jump. But they're not going to be able to build around him.
With a bunch of superstars. He's never been the piece.
Yeah. I mean, I could see him going to, Phoenix with KD, or he's going to jump to somewhere that they got a lot of people already, but I mean, he may go there and wreck it with his ego, but for the Lakers standpoint, I would definitely trade him and start rebuilding now, because I trade him and Anthony Davis.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Just blow it up and because they don't have, that's all they have is those two players. Their bench is horrible. They have no they have nobody on that team except for AD and LeBron.
Making the connection back, which would be horrifying. And I know we all know this, but I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. If the Fenway Sports Group bought the Celtics, LeBron's part of that conglomerate. That would make me go lay in.
So the thing is, that's the thing where if he's still playing,
he can't be a part of it.
If he's still playing, he wouldn't be able to be a part of it.
Okay. Oh my God, gross.
I'm glad you brought that back full circle, though.
Yeah, we made a lot of connections tonight. I think this is like a presidency. I think it's years after when you realize the richness of it, which I'll check back in 4 years. I feel like I'm not going to feel the richness of the last 4 years.
I don't know.
Anyway, there's a possibility.
I don't think it really hit me until right now. I am super excited about Josh Daniels coming back.
You're letting it soak in right now. I can tell.
Yeah.
McDaniels. He's like, I don't know what his name is.
Not Jaden Daniels.
Jaden
Daniels. I think he can work with this kid very well.
Look what he did with Mac Jones.
Mac's best year was his last year.
Was that? Yes, and I think a lot of people forget that. That he's like, everyone just thinks, oh well, he had Brady, that's why he did so well. It's like, no, he was able to coach up other players also besides Brady. And
can we get Dante? Can we get Dante a scooter or a golf cart? Just get Dante a golf cart.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Get Scarnecchia back out here. Charlie Weiss, what's he doing? Where's Rack at? Let's go.
He's on the couch right now watching football.
Yes.
It'd be interesting what they bring on the defensive side, because Vrabel's a defensive guy, so he's not going to need like that big defensive coordinator to come in.
They said Robert Saleh seems to be the guy that he's really shining on. I would love. Yeah, I think we're all stained because we think of him as the head coach that got run out of town, and he wasn't a bad head. You can't say he was a bad head coach.
And
the Jets is a recipe for disaster, and he got run out of town by the LeBron of professional football. A-Rod's like, yeah, this is not going to work. I mean, that was obvious. I'd love that. Who was the other person they were talking about, which would be not awful? They've thrown a few different names around. There's another head coaching job open. Did you see that?
No.
Oh no, I'm sorry. They were just listing them off. I thought it was a new one. The Jaguars. It's been a while. That's been a while.
Yeah, they got rid of theirs early.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
It's funny though, but I'm watching ESPN. They still haven't barked about it. Still haven't talked about.
I'm surprised that they haven't hired a coach yet. I thought they would be the first ones because they were the first ones out, right? Again, why do you get rid of somebody if you don't know exactly at least your top 3 candidates that you're going to want?
Right.
Well, I think people get rid of people. Like Black Monday is Black Monday because they want to make it clear, and by doing that, agents start to call.
Yeah,
agents are going to start to gauge interest, and you know, who you guys looking at, what's the deal? Because and you're not even doing a tell when you do that, because all these agents have multiple coaches and multiple athletes, right? So they can get away with doing that.
I really thought Doug Peterson was going to excel there, especially the year that he had the year prior.
Yep, Duval. Like, yeah, he did. It felt like things were starting to click. It was the 4-year climb that we just saw with Dan Campbell. It was starting to feel similar. Mm-hmm. And then I don't think Trevor getting his face kicked in didn't help. That wasn't good. No. And Mac definitely proved that he's a backup quarterback at best.
Unfortunately,
he had some flashes, but not enough flashes. That's for sure. Last question. I'll leave it to the hockey expert, then we're going to escape out of here. Do we think that there's legitimacy to the fact that Pasta and Marshy aren't getting along, or do you think they're good? And the only reason I ask, there was a late goal yesterday, and Marshy got sort of tripped and crashed into the boards, and Pasta went and got him, and it was a throwaway goal, end of the game, empty netter, but there wasn't a lot of emotion and hugging and celebration when he scored that goal. Like Pasta never looked at him. Pasta sort of stood him up, put his arm around him. It was, I don't know, it was interesting. And I hope that's not the case, because like the fact that they could be doing something to shake up the team, to maybe change the juju, that I think would be catastrophic, when the problem might be at the way top. We're going through coaches like dry cigarettes, and maybe the problem's above the dry cigarettes. It's not great.
Your one-liners always kill me.
You're welcome. And I don't even smoke.
I love it.
So yeah,
I love it.
So I don't know. Just wondering what your thoughts are on that.
He's thinking about it. He's deep thought.
No, they're about to announce the Baseball Hall of Fame inductees.
Oh, we'll stay for that. Is that happening? Is it seconds away or hours away?
So the show is started at 6.
Okay.
So we're hours away.
Who are you hoping for?
Well, I think Ichiro is probably no brainer in my mind. Sabathia, I think he probably will too.
CC gonna take a bath here.
Yeah.
God bless him.
Then there's a lot of question marks. Andrew Jones, did he do it long enough? That's going to be his thing.
I have a signed baseball from him. Where it is, I have no idea, but I have a signed Andrew Jones.
Really?
AMDRUW.
Really good.
What's that?
I thought he was really good. Andrew Jones.
So Tom Verducci, this is the people he voted for. He voted for Carlos Beltran, CC Sabathia, Ichiro Suzuki, and Billy Wagner.
Billy Wagner getting in, you think? Good old.
I think he was definitely good enough. I know that the closer Hall of Famers have been. Mariano was a no-brainer, but I think a lot of the other ones they've been like kind of they shy away from the closers for some reason.
Is Dustin on that list?
He is on the ballot this year.
Okay.
Did Beltran perfect the one knee home run?
I think he perfected the trash can home runs.
Oh, who am I thinking? Oh, I'm thinking of Beltray. I got Beltran in my head.
Oh yeah, Beltray, he got in last year.
But yeah, Beltray was last year. He perfected the one. He used to swing from it. He got so low to get under it. He would always have his right knee would be planted. It was unbelievable.
Last year, I totally forgot that he was on the Red Sox.
Yeah,
we had him for.
Yeah, you forget how many people pass through. It's unbelievable. Tis unbelievable. No idea when we'll see you again. It's gonna be sometime next week. I have no gauge for this. Well, what do we? Well, I guess the three of us are here because we don't have the two basketball dads until basketball's over, which apparently is the end of the month. So what are we available for? And I love that we have this conversation.
I'm available Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Pretty sure.
Corey, what's your deal next week?
Same.
You can do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
Yep.
All right.
I'm in South Kakalaka all week.
All right.
Yep. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
All right. How about we slide it to Tuesday?
Perfect.
Just because we can. I just did that. You'll get the update. Awesome.
Nice.
We'll be back next Tuesday for our dear friends Adam and Scotty Dukes, who are currently in hair and makeup. And I always say it was his ACL. It was his Achilles, which is even more disgusting when you think about your Achilles exploding playing basketball. So I don't know if he's out there gracing the court or if he's just coaching or if he's yelling from the sideline. But everybody has youth basketball except for the three of us currently. So we'll be back at it next Tuesday. We appreciate you watching. For our dear friends Joe and Leslie, who tolerate all of our bullshittery and throwing their name around, AAA work trucks. Rubber shoes. If you're in the New England area and you see a box truck with a dashingly good-looking young man on the side dressed like the Village People, that's AAA work trucks. I'll let that sear into your brain, into your cortex. We'll be back next week. We'd love for you to subscribe and share and like and comment, and you can do that at atbshow.com. Take care.